Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead.
In Germany, you needed a notary to be there and walk you through all the papers. And you have to initial every sentence. Every sentence. That won't be the case in other. Switzerland's similar, but for the most part, the rest of the world doesn't apply that stringent of a format. Now, one of the first things you do, and this is also in the templates, is when you tell them there has to be a chair for the meeting, a chair, not necessarily your chairman, a chair, somebody that's going to run the meeting, and that should be your chair. You know, he'll defer to you, but you'll defer back to him and say, "This is all not at the meeting going on that you're convincing him to be the chair of the meeting. This is before the meeting." But when you introduce yourself, because some of these guys you will now, especially, you will have never met in person. Now, I strongly recommend, and I don't, when Corona loosens up, that you have your first board meeting in person. Although the kids are having them virtually now. But I strongly recommend, because it's going to be the first, last, and maybe only time you meet these guys and gals. And you stand up and you say, everybody introduces themselves, and you have 3 minutes of fame. You're Joe, you did this, bad bullshit. You come around, and then you say words to the effect. And I want to make it clear that we will not be following Robert's Rules today. Robert's Rules is the Bible of board meetings. The Bible of board meetings. We will not be following Robert's Rules. And everybody will go, they like that. But very seldom does anybody ever say it, because Robert's Rules is really, it's the PC of the PC of the best of practices, the best of practices, how you're supposed to run a board meeting, vis-a-vis corporate due diligence and corporate governance. And especially with all the shit that's going on, people are more nervous and more nervous and more nervous about that. 40% of all outside directors in the United States of America got sued last year. 40% of all outside directors got sued. That's 2018, excuse me, not 2019, 2018. So they're hinky. Now, suing the board in this country is almost unheard of. And one of the first questions that will be asked, and I didn't ask it when we were doing that interview for chairman, is will we get D&O insurance? Directors and officers insurance. And the answer is yes. And you say in due course. That means between now and never. And directors and officers insurance is dirt cheap. You can get $10, $20 million for insurance for $5,000 a year. And why are the premiums so low? Because the insurance companies never pay off the cocksuckers. They fuck you. That's why the premiums are so low. You can't find an insurance company that ever paid off on a D&O insurance policy. But you don't say that to the directors. That's just your little secret. But now it's on you fuck. So, I mean, the you fuckers know it. Okay, so now, and the meeting starts, and the agenda, and one of the things you're going to get is, where's EJ, DJ to EJ? Give him the outline of the board. This is the best outline agenda of a board meeting I've seen in the last 10 or 15 years. And you're going to get it, the hard copy. And that's this secret sauce the YouTubers don't get. Oh, so they're going to get, okay. This is it. And I can proudly say I didn't do one bit of work for this. And the format is almost perfect for where we are now in Corona. For our first board meeting, that's a lot of shit. And there's charts and there's all kinds of shit. But this is the format you should follow. And that picture should be me. These are the biggest healthcare providers in Europe. And you see them every 10 minutes on Sky Television. This old git coming down the stairs, and a good-looking young girl nurse is buttoning up his shirt. Now, to me, that's sexist. But I want my picture there instead of this old git. this old 95-year-old get. And each one of your board members will get this. And the board members will say, like apologizing, this is great work, when they're saying to Andreas, this is great work, but we didn't have anything to do with it. Perhaps our chairman, our illustrious chairman, helped you with it. No, I didn't do it either. This is all Andreas' work. But this is great. This is great. So when you go to court 6 years from now and they're all suing your fat asses, they can't say they didn't know what they were fucking voting on. They will still say it, but no, it's right here. Okay? You will appoint a secretary to each board meeting. A secretary. That's normally for the guys, the mistress you're poking, you bring her along and she's there for the weekend. That's normally what it is. Just so we get it clear. Okay. Not your wife. We had a guy years ago bring his mother. I didn't know she was a big, powerful New York corporate lawyer at the time. She was a ball buster. I said, your mom knows an awful lot about corporate governance. Anyway, so you have a secretary taking minutes of everything that's said. And then when the board meeting's over, and I like when you vote once, all in favor of the above motions, say aye. I don't ask them who's opposed. Because you're not in this fucking meeting if you opposed anything. So you vote once for everything, the whole slate. When the board meeting is over, then you send the minutes of the board meeting that you get from the secretary that kept the minutes, and you send them to the chairman. And see if his recollection of what happened is the same recollection as the secretary was. And whatever he suggests, you make those changes. Then you send out a next draft to the rest of the board members, asking them if they have any comments. Reference the board minutes. Occasionally you'll get some comments. At that board meeting, on the agenda, as it shows in the agenda you're going to get, is share distribution. For some of the directors, it will be the first time they see how much equity they get. For most of the directors, it will be the first time they see the other directors. Familiarity breeds contempt. Now, recently, a year and a half ago, one of you, meatheads, is walking down Piccadilly in London, and they walk by, and there's a lot of Starbucks. I don't know which Starbucks it was. And they see their chairman, his CEO, and his CFO sitting having a coffee at Starbucks on Piccadilly. And he didn't know about the meeting. And he just kept walking. And he calls Kim, emergency. I don't take the calls. I don't take those calls. He should have gone right in and said, you're all fired. And I would have punched a couple of them in the face, just for fun. Choked one. See if I could still do a swivel kick. I may or may not, but I haven't done that in a long time. Would you have stepped into the breach and fired them on the fucking spot laced with four-letter words, or would you just kept walking with the tail between your legs to get on the tube? And that happens. You don't want, and part of the thing that you illustrate to these board members, and until you appoint them a board member, a permanent board member at the first board meeting, they're just potentially board members because they're not yet. No stock has been issued. Is that we are keeping all the board members confidentially, names not mentioned for confidential reasons. You'll meet all at the time. Now, some of the guys, for those of you that are going to take 5 years to build up this day, they'll get tired and leave because they're not going to be potentially on a board for a long time and not know who the other board members are. But if you get it done quickly, like you do, like you're supposed to, and follow the steps, they'll hang on. And the first time that they see who's on the board is when they get the agenda, which lists the board members, And the first time they'll see them is when they see them at the first meeting. Really important. Because when they get together, they will immediately ascertain, why in the fuck are you there? Immediate. I don't care what your resume says. I'm 2% and I built a $6 billion company. This cocksucker is 63% and all he can't even wipe his own ass and chew gum. Does everybody follow that rationale? So when I tell you not to have a fucking board meeting until you got something to talk about and you form the company, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Yet one of you, at least one of you, is going to do just the opposite of what I just said. I'll bet you 10 million pounds. 10 million to a pound. And the last time I made that bet, whoops, sorry, Dan. Don't I have it here? Oh, fuck. I didn't bring it? No, God damn it. I've got a pound that a guy sent me. I made him a 10 million pound bet. And he sent me the pound because he lost. When I bet 10 million pounds that it's going to happen, God him fucking self said it. But you'll still do it anyway. Now, you've got the minutes. You've got the authority. Go rock and roll. They've approved, in this case, 4 LOIs. Now, the onus is on you. Really, all the rest is bullshit. I was never a foreplay kind of guy anyway, but I mean, all the rest, up till then, when you have the piece of paper that says you can go spend 10 million euros, the onus is on you now. Now you got to go close those fuckers. Normally, you have your industry expert and or your CFO go with you. And as he said, the first few deals were smaller deals, less than 2 million. And, yeah, thank you. My prop, only. He sent me a pound. I don't want to berate the ethnicity, but you can do a wild-ass fucking guess what ethnic background he is. Getting a pound out of him is like cutting my heart out. He'd give his daughter's liver rather than this pound. So that's one of my trophies. Thank you. So now you're running and gunning. You're going and you're negotiating the sales and purchase agreement. In this country, the sales and purchase agreement is the thing that is beyond the LOI, because the LOI doesn't mean anything. And remember, all the LOIs are subject to finance and due diligence. Finance and due diligence. So they're really worthless. But the banks love them. So the banks then are led to believe you're on the right track. So now you're sitting down and getting the sales and purchase agreements finalized as quickly as humanly possible. And you are doing the due diligence. And the banks, where's EJ? The other one, the green one, the green paper. Green? Okay, you're going to get a copy. The banks are going to do their own quality of earnings, which is their due diligence. Because the bank isn't just going to, if you have commercial financing, the bank's not just going to lend you money for a deal that they didn't look at themselves. They're going to go look at the establishment, or they're going to hire somebody. If it's in Memphis, Tennessee, and you're in Virginia, they're going to hire somebody to go look at it. And then the commercial debt takes longer. It takes anywhere from 4 to 10 weeks, depending on what kind of bank. Is it a state bank? Is it a charter bank? Is it this, that, and the other thing? Okay. And so now you get those sales and purchase agreements finalized. And as he said, once you have the sales and purchase agreement signed for a 100% seller finance, the deal's done. But you have a consideration, $1, a pound, a euro. Then the deal's done. And as he alluded to, I keep pointing it like it's there, as Andres alluded to, there was licenses transfer. And that is the stumbling block around the world, or getting licenses transferred. Because not that many lawyers, for whatever reason, understand that the license is transferred with the entity, not with the person's name. I don't know why. I don't want to know why about anything, but I just know it is, so you got to make sure you cover that. But more deals in America fall apart at the end because the license didn't transfer. So now you've taken possession, so to speak, but you can't collect the money. That's the management agreement that the Viking bitch alluded to. So you have one of those in place. And this isn't Lawyer 101, but it's Lawyer 201. It's pretty simple stuff. Okay. Any questions for where I've taken you through? And that's why I moved him in the process, because of the board meeting and the LOI. Yes, sir, in the back.
He did all his due diligence on his own. If you don't know much about this industry,
You don't know anything.
who's going to do the background check on due diligence on this company?
Well, you're bored. Your dream team. You're two industry experts. Have you been asleep back there? Two industry experts. Your accountant, your lawyer, your CEO, your chairman. They all have expertise in this area that you don't. That answer your question? Yes, sir.
Are licenses the only exception to purchasing?
No. But what we don't, this is not management by exception. There's a whole theory of senior management, but that's not this. Okay? I named one because that's the only one you got to worry about. Don't worry about any others. Okay? Oh, yes, sir.
So are all the documents were in English for the founding of the company?
English and German.
Okay. And the whole meeting was in English, of course.
No. I told, during parts of the meeting, I said, you're going to speak German. So I can take a snooze. No, I didn't really say, I should speak German. Because now all these guys' English was pretty damn good. I mean, a couple of them was perfect. A German won't speak English if they can't speak English well. That's not going to happen. But I'm not on French boards anymore, but I've been on boards all over the world, and now the universal language is English.
But is it fine that you will not understand everything they're talking about?
No, but the lawyers are there representing me. Now, where you come from, they're going to steal you from you. Yeah, I know. I know why you're asking the question. In third world countries, they're third, fourth, and fifth world countries for a reason. Contracts in China, the negotiation only starts after the contract, after you've signed the final deal. That's when the negotiations begin. The 15 months that you negotiated to sign the fucking thing doesn't mean anything. They begin there. You know, Donald Trump is doing to China fucked us for practice for 60 fucking years in America. And fucked the world. For 60 years, they raped, pillaged, and plundered us. And now we got fucking snowflakes. We're not being nice to them. He gets in the second term, he's going to have Chinese mouth on his dick for 4 fucking years. He ain't done nothing yet. And I predicted 17 of the 20 things Trump did the first term. 17 out of 20. The only 3 things he didn't do, and I've said this, he didn't bomb Iran, he didn't bomb North Korea, and he didn't bomb Syria. Other than that, he did everything I said he was going to do. Now, when he opens, the stuff he's going to do this next term is going to baffle. If the screaming liberals are crying now about Ginsburg, they will cut their throats on YouTube over what he's got up his sleeve next round. It's going to be a thing of fucking beauty. I'll be able to go to my maker just swimming in fucking blood, liberal blood. I'll just float all the way up to heaven. He's going to fuck him for practice this next term. And then when he's emperor, you heard it here first. Emperor Trump. Okay, what else about, yes, sir.
So from the time when you found your board member until the first board meeting, do you get them to sign the independent director agreement?
No. And don't be sending them an NDA. Do you know how insulting non-disclosure agreements are to somebody like me? I'll tell you where to pound that, honey. Where to put your NDA. By definition, when you're a board member, you have a fiduciary fucking responsibility not to leak information. You're recruiting me to be on your fucking board, to give me that total responsibility, and then you send me a fucking NDA? Fuck you and the whore you wrote in on. That is kindergarten shit. Plus, you don't have any money to fight somebody if they cheat you. What are you going to do? Shame on you, liar, liar, pants on fire? Fucking morons. And the guys know you're not going to sue them. And whoever says shit like that is naive or just stupid. There was another question. You're hitting my buttons now. Now, if Sally were here, she'd say, excuse me, and then she'll remind me of the time that I sent an NDA and got my ass chewed out by a big hitter. See, if she was here, she'd plug in the color intro, which I did a long time ago. Okay, any other questions? Yes, sir.
And my other question is that, so you incorporated a company, but during the first board member meeting, the lawyer will reincorporate the company, or they will rewrite the bylaw?
We're not reincorporating, depending if we're buying assets or stock. If we're buying assets, they'll take those assets into your NewCo. Okay? If you're buying a company, it can be a subsidiary of NewCo, your new company, whether it's an LLC or whatever kind of company you want. But they're not reincorporating anything. They're pulling assets into your new corporate entity, or they're placing that new corporate entity under as 100% owned, if it is 100% owned, by your holding company. And when we talk about ownership, and one of the kids, he did 100% owner finances a couple of years ago for 7 or 8 deals in a row. And then I see he did 99% owner finance. And I had to call. So I came on, he says, we had a long-time secretary here that didn't want to sell her 1%. She wants to go along for the ride. Once in a while that happens. But I thought, well, how could this must be a typo? Something's fucked up. Yeah.
So you incorporate the same day as your first acquisition, right before?
No, you incorporate when you get approval from the board to pursue the 4 LOIs. You don't have the assets because you haven't bought them yet. But you're now being given permission by a corporate entity. Go run. You got 10 million, well, we didn't tell him you got 10 million euros to spend. But he's got a budget of 10 million euros. To go out and potentially spend, which in hindsight, it should have been 25 million. Because he's already spent the fucking 10 million, so we just had the goddamn board meeting. But that's a good problem. We can have a virtual board meeting and we can expand. I mean, no problem. No problem. And the CFO and himself, we start October 1, drawing salaries. And there are charts. When you buy $1 million company, you don't start paying yourself $500,000 a year. There are charts put out by E&Y and KPMG and Oxford University and Harvard, blah, blah. Companies 1 to 5 million, average, medium salaries of executives and board members. A CEO of a $2 million entity probably is going to get paid somewhere between 100 and 150. A $10 million revenue. A $10 million entity is going to get paid between 250 and 350. That's not where you're making the money, the salary. You're making the money on the bonuses that you're pulling out for vis-a-vis over finance. That's where the money is. The $8 million house that Thomas is looking at is not on his salary. I don't even know what his salary is. I don't even remember what his salary is. But I guarantee you, he will not qualify for any goddamn loan. Maybe he's got seller finance on the house. Maybe I'll shut my mouth. Yeah, I'll shut my mouth. Maybe he does. I'm going to email him and ask him that. Okay, go ahead.
And the bonuses were taken out of the working capital, but we still leave some left?
Can the bonuses, you said will, but can the bonuses have been taken out of working capital? Yes, but they're better taken out of over finance. Everybody follow that? Oh, you found it? No, that's a different chart. Wait. No, this isn't quality of earnings. This is advertising. These are the industry breakdown. But hand them out anyway. That's another thing. The quality of earnings you'll get tomorrow. You get that. But this is a industry breakdown. I didn't sanction this. I didn't approve this. I'm not deeming that it's accurate. But the kids that we've given it to the last 2 or 3 seminars seem to say it is accurate. So we're giving it to you. And it's roughly speaking, plus or minus 10%, what the industry averages are and break down gross margin, net margin, blah, blah, blah. And but tomorrow you'll get a quality of earnings from a BDO acquisition that one of you kids did. It's not the final draft. It's the next to the final draft. And within your gigs, you're going to have 2 quality of earnings equivalent fact sheet questionnaires, one of which our first hardcore seminar group put together with me involved, and the second is just a questionnaire produced, I believe, by one of the big law firms. All the accounting firms, all the law firms have their own quality of earnings reports that they go through, and they're plus or minus 10%. Plus or minus 10%. Who's my 5:30? 6. Tonight, you know the drill. Tonight, what's the movie? Oh, good. Okay. Kat, goodbye.